It seems like with every baseball season, there is a specific group of breakout players. Not necessarily rookies. Some of these players are guys that you hadn't thought about in a while. These guys go from mediocre or average to a star in the span of one season. There was no shortage of these breakout players in 2019, but the one we are going to talk about today is Jorge Soler. Today we're going to look at the events of Soler's career that led up to 2019, the 2019 season itself, and whether he can sustain this production in the future. Let's get into it. Soler first made a name for himself in the 2010 World Junior Championships, where he was one of the best hitters in the tournament. In 2011, he defected from Cuba to pursue an MLB career. The next year, he was finally a free agent. Many teams were pursuing Solaire, including the Cubs, Yankees, and Red Sox. Ultimately, he signed with the Cubs on a 9-year deal worth $30 million. Kevin Goldstein of Baseball Prospectus did not rank Solaire in his 2012 Top 101 Prospects list due to eligibility, but he said he would have ranked Solaire as the 38th or 39th best prospect if he were eligible. Why would he be ranked this highly? Well, at the time, Solaire stood at 6'4", weighing 215 pounds. Goldstein claimed that Solaire received a 70+ rating from scouts for his power tool. This power tool, along with a great swing, should prove to be a nightmare for pitchers to handle. The combination of being a great athlete and having a strong arm also made him a lock for a future right field job with the Cubs. Of course, like any other young prospect, Solaire had some problems. While he had good pitch recognition, he had shown to be over-aggressive at times. Jeff Manns of Sporting News said the biggest issue with Solaire, aside from the hamstring injuries, is his temper. He started out on the wrong foot with the Cubs after failing to report to minor league camp shortly after signing his 9-year $30 million deal, feeling that he should have been in Chicago immediately. These issues will come into play later. After a few seasons in the minor leagues, Solaire was promoted to the majors on August 25, 2014. A couple of days later, he made his debut, where he hit a home run for his first major league hit. Over the next week, Solaire became just the third major league player in the last 100 years to have at least one extra base hit in each of his first 5 games in the majors. Also, he became the second player in Cubs history with as many as 10 RBIs in his first 7 games as a major leaguer. His first month in the majors was very good, so the question that everyone had was what could Solaire do in a full season? Well, it took quite a while to get that answer. In fact, it took about half a decade. In 2015, after winning the starting right field job, Solaire was sidelined for a couple of months due to an ankle injury and oblique injury. While he did play around 100 games in 2015, he wasn't necessarily showing the potential that scouts had been raving about for years. To be fair, this was his first real season. In fact, during the 2015 playoffs, Solaire crushed the ball. Still, he needed to play a full season to prove himself. In 2016, Solaire missed 2 months of games due to a hamstring injury. After the season, Solaire was traded to the Royals for Wade Davis. Solaire missed about a month due to an oblique issue and was eventually demoted to AAA due to his terrible performance in 2017. In 2018, Solaire earned a starting right field job with the Royals, but suffered a toe fracture in June, causing him to miss the rest of the season. He actually had a decent start to that season as he was starting to realize his potential. Then we finally get to 2019. What did Solaire's stat line look like? Yep, he crushed the ball. Not only did he finally play a full 162 game season, but he led the American League in home runs with 48 and tied for second in the American League in RBIs with 117. In fact, he was the first player in Royals history to hit over 40 home runs in a season. Although it wasn't all positives, as Solaire also tied for the American League lead in strikeouts with 178. So, what changed? Well, it's honestly pretty simple, and I'm sure you can guess it. Solaire finally played a full season. He was finally able to get consistent at-bats. Before 2019, the only major league season where Solaire was able to play over 100 games was in 2015, and even then, it was only 101 games. This past season, he showcased why his power was rated as a 70 grade. In August, he hit a stretch where he was one of the best hitters in the league, like a 259 WRC+. That's actually insane. When you look at the percentile rankings, it shows a clear picture of what Solaire was in 2019. He ranked among the best in the league in exit velocity, hard hit percentage, expected weighted on-base average, expected slugging percentage, and barrel percentage. It's pretty crazy to think that in just one full season, Solaire proved to be one of the best power hitters in the entire league, although he still has major flaws that he needs to work on. Looking back at the percentages, he ranks in the 19th percentile in strikeout percentage, the 9th percentile in whiff percentage, and the 4th percentile in outfield jump. What does all of this mean? Solaire chases too many pitches and is a terrible defender. Solaire only played 56 games in right field as he was mainly a designated hitter, so while he had some pretty bad DRS and UZR stats, it's good to see that Solaire is mainly playing as a designated hitter. The main problem is his over-aggressiveness at the plate, something that was highlighted in his scouting report when he signed with the Cubs back in 2012. Look at this graphic showing Solaire's run value in relation to where he's swinging in the strike zone. Now let's couple this with Solaire's splits on fastballs, breaking balls, and off-speed pitches. Basically, Solaire will crush a fastball inside the strike zone. The problem is the breaking ball just outside of the strike zone. His aggressive stance is a double-edged sword. On one hand, this leads to one of the most powerful swings in the league, but on the other hand, it leads to a huge amount of strikeouts. This is a typical problem with power hitters. It's all about finding a balance, and it seems that Solaire has developed a work ethic so he can continue to improve. In an article by Alec Lewis of The Athletic, he details Solaire's journey to his 2019 breakout season. Royals coach Pedro Grifol had been working with Solaire for a while. In regards to Solaire's 2018 injury, Grifol said, "Everybody talks about last year being a year where he could have done this and could have done that, until he got hurt. Him getting hurt, I believe personally, helped his development. He had to sit here and watch and see every day what he could be doing. There's the perspective you learn. You learn this game. Last year, I believe Solaire learned the game." They also went on to say that when Solaire hits off the pitching machine, many of those pitches are sliders starting in the strike zone and falling out of it. This work ethic, along with Solaire finally being able to see major league pitching on a consistent basis, allowed Solaire to improve on his pitch recognition. This graph was made around game 130 of the 2019 season, and it shows that as the season progressed, Solaire had a relatively downward trend in terms of outside swing percentage. When you line up Solaire's monthly stats in 2019 to this graph, you see the correlation. In June, which starts around game 60, Solaire had his second worst individual month of the season. In July, he started to turn it around because he swung at less pitches out of the strike zone. Obviously, Solaire is not a finished product. He still has a long way to go, but if 48 home runs is just the beginning stage, there is no telling to where Solaire can go from here. If Solaire can continue improving his pitch recognition and is able to find a balance between his over-aggressiveness and his power, he can legitimately finish his career as the best power hitter in Royals history. Of course, a lot of things have to go right for this to happen, but the possibility is there, and I think Solaire knows that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to stick around. Thanks for watching.